Hello, my name is Fernando Duran, and I will do the oral presentation for the final project of the class Psycholinguistics in a bilingual education system. I worked with a classmate, Agueda Martinez, but we decided to do the oral presentation individually. We also decided to choose a different topic from those proposed by the teacher because we both work in the same university. I will speak about this later, and we found really interesting this topic. So the title of our research is Not Cognitive Factors in Second Language Acquisition: Croissant's Affective Filter Impact in Learning Teaching Process in UPAEP High School. What is the main objective of this investigation? It tries to inquire on the not cognitive factors involved in the teaching and learning process in high school students. This is that we believe that there is not enough to be aware of the cognitive factors, I mean the pedagogy of how are we teaching, but also of those not cognitive elements, for example, the emotions that are involved in the learning process of the students. The main question, the research questions of this investigation is to what extent those not cognitive factors, for example, anxiety, self-confidence, and motivation, can influence on the acquisition and development of a second language in high school students, in teenagers. About the conceptual framework, we based our study in one of the five Krashen's hypotheses. This author has five different hypotheses about learning acquisition, language acquisition, but we considered only one, the affective filter. This affective filter is defined as the invisible psychological filter that can either facilitate or complicate language production in a second language, and it obstructs the arrival to the language acquisition device. There are more authors, of course, that have addressed these topics about how emotions or not cognitive factors can affect the second language acquisition. For example, Jean-Marc Dewell says that the emotional atmosphere of the classroom is important. So how the environment of the classroom can affect the development of the students. He says that anxiety is the main responsible for lack of progress in foreign language learning. Another authors, Dornay and Murphy, says that second language acquisition is possible only with the right kind of emotional climate in the foreign language classroom. So, as we can see here in this framework, it is important to consider those kind of not cognitive element or factors in the learning process. Let me explain you a little bit about the subjects of study. As I said before, both Agueda and I work in UPAEP. UPAEP is a private university in Puebla, Mexico, city really close to Mexico City, just in the center of Mexico. And the university has in addition to graduate and postgraduate programs, a system of 10 different high schools, 5 in the city of Puebla and 5 in cities near to Puebla. The profile of our students are almost all of them middle class families, and the majority of them are coming from public education. And it is sad to say that, but in Mexico, the coming from public education means a really low educational level. So students come to our high schools with some problems in their academic progress. So also some of our students come from the southern states in Mexico, where the educational level is not very good as well. And just a few of them come from bilingual middle schools. As I will explain in a second, our program is a bilingual program, so it is a problem because the students coming from public education and not bilingual schools are struggling with the program. The program is based on two pillars. One, the academic excellence. This is the IB program. Our high schools are authorized to teach both the diploma and the career related program. And also, the second pillar is the bilingual program. We are focusing our curriculum in give the students an academic proficiency in English. So there are five different disciplinary areas that are completely taught in English. Sciences, all the way from inorganic and organic chemistry to environmental systems and society, biology, physics, math. I'm talking about algebra, calculus, trigonometry, geometry, statistics, business, which means human resources, finance, production, and also history, Mexican history, international conflicts, the history in the 19th and 20th century. All of those different areas are taught in English. This has two main problems. The first one is the low proficiency in English that our students have. As you can see in the graphic there, almost all of our students are below B2 according to the Common European Framework of Reference. 59% are A2 when they come to our school. So this means that both teachers and students are struggling with the bilingual program because at the very beginning of the high school, they have no the level required to accomplish what it is expected. And also the teachers' qualifications. This doesn't mean that teachers are not trained in strategies, for example, CLIL, but it means that sometimes teachers are not considering not cognitive factors in the process of teaching and learning content through English. This is why this investigation is very interesting for our institution. About the methodology, we organized two separate focus groups, one for students and one for teachers. Students from the third year of high school, they are senior students, they are about to graduate from high school. Those students were invited to participate in this focus group, but also they are all students that have been struggling with language all their high school. And also teachers from the different subject areas such sciences, math, English as a second language. So teachers from different fields of knowledge came to the focus group. The question that supported the focus groups was to what extent not cognitive factors have affected the students' learning. We organized a questionnaire to guide the focus group, and it was divided into three different stages. The first one, to get a general perception about the factors that may inhibit the learning of the students in the program. So teachers and students were asked about what the problems think they are. And the second stage was about the identification of not cognitive factors. So both, again, teachers and students were asked about those emotions or those situations that can be affecting the learning process. And the third stage was about the awareness of the not cognitive factors. This means that even when they were asked and they thought they expressed that there are not cognitive factors involved in this process, the teachers are not considering these factors entirely in their lesson planning, in their practice. Something about our conclusions, because I know we have no much time here in this oral presentation. I want to speak about the teacher's perspective, and my classmate Agueda Martinez will address about the students' perspective. In the focus group with the teacher, we asked two questions. To what extent affective factors have influenced the language development of the lowest level students? We try to focus the research on those students who have been struggling with the language. And second, how are teachers considering affective factors in their teaching practice? So, the first conclusion was that the students need guidance and support. This is very Mexican. In Mexico, teachers are not just that, are also tutors. So students feel more comfortable and they feel that they are progressing if the teachers are close to them. Also, the group's organization, teachers believe that it is important to maintain a comfortable environment within the classroom. Regarding the three different elements in the Krashen's affective filter about motivation, teachers referred that at the very beginning of the high school, students feel motivated. They also use English to communicate outside the classroom where Spanish is allowed. So it is important to notice that as time progresses, this motivation is lost. So we can conclude that maybe it's because the teachers are not including motivation in their lesson planning. For example, a project-based approach would be interesting for the students because they will feel engaged and motivated along the way. Second, about self-confidence. This is one of the main elements, not cognitive elements, that teacher think that are present in the process in UPAEP High School. They said that students need continuous support and feedback. And they also think that self-confidence is included in the lesson planning. For example, the organization and collaborative strategies that make the students feel more comfortable, for example, pair work or group work. And about the anxiety, they believe that there is a strong relation between the productive skills and the anxiety. I mean, the students feel more anxious when they have to present, for example, orally. And it is important to notice that assessment was not mentioned as one of the sources of anxiety. So it is good because as long as the students don't feel that they will fail classes because their lack of proficiency in the language, they will reduce the anxiety levels. As a main conclusion, we can say that in this program of UPAEL high schools, it was being really important that not cognitive factors. Both teachers and students mention that the more controlled these factors are, the better the results will be. It is important to focus especially on the motivation because, as we can see in this quote, motivation is really important. Let me read it really fast. It is the active learning, the student who engages with language, who can be considered motivated, the student who endorses the integrative attitudes, but who does not show effort and engagement with the language is simply not a motivated learning. For further details, we can see the reading project that we already uploaded to Blackboard. Thank you very much. Affective filter elements. About the first one, motivation, we ask both teacher and students about where is the motivation of students based, and they answer us that motivation that at the very beginning of the program, students used to be very motivated. They are actually speaking in English outside classroom. So